found some more fudge drizzle, which actually, by the way, was where the other fudge drizzle was. So I don't know why I thought I didn't. Why I thought I didn't have any more. I don't know. Um, however, yeah, I got some water, so I can be a little bit more hydrated because it is very, very warm, hot today in the Bronx. And if you know anything about New York City, you know humidity can be a pain in the neck. But yes, so I think we're ready for part two. So we got one arm done though. How do you feel about this arm? What do you think? Now y'all know I'm always critiquing my work, right? So I'm like, it would have been cooler if I'd have made her wrist a little bit more defined. But it's cool. Maybe next time, right? Still a cool, whatever, right? Um, and I'm gonna do another. I'm gonna do another arm, another arm. I don't want to just go into the leg because I feel like I'm in the zone for the arm. Let me do another arm, and then we'll do one leg on camera because it's still kind of early, right? We only an hour and some change in, right? Okay. So yeah, we're good. We're good on time. So if you're joining and you're new here, definitely make sure you hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the My Kind of Thing YouTube channel. If you already are subscribed and you were participating in the first part, welcome back. We're going to keep it going. I just want to make sure I have everything I need. All right, and the new ball right here, right? Because you know how we do. We are My Kind of Thing, My Kind of Spring, and the My Kind of Thing University. So, but I got my first drizzle. And we're just gonna do another arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah. And like I said, the arms are long because the design is long. So don't worry about it if it looks long for you. The design, like I said, is about 18 inches maybe. And let me know if you all can hear me okay. Is the sound okay? Let me know if the sound is okay. Let me know if you can see me all right and you can hear me all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I just want to make sure because sound can be an issue. It definitely can be an issue. Okay, so welcome back. We're back. And like I said, I'm just going to work on another arm because, like I mentioned on Friday, it's the best practice when creating limbs or creating any pieces that are supposed to be the same size. You don't want to spend too much. You don't want to have too much time in between creating the pair or the multiples because you might run the risk of your tension changing so much that it's like two different pieces. So yeah. Let me see. You just make sure how I'm looking on camera. Am I looking all right? Am I looking all right? I feel like my ponytail was higher when I first did it. And yeah, it dropped. Probably dropped because I can't stand my hair pulling. Yeah, I probably dropped it because I hate ponytails, by the way. I don't like them because I'm very, very tender-headed and it always feels like it's like pulling on my brain. So that's why, it's a very rare occurrence that you'll even see me in a ponytail. So I'm like, nah, this is doing too much. Um, hey, Melanie. Um, Cooler Bells. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, we're gonna get started on the other arm. And I'll work this up a little bit faster because we gotta get to them feet, knees, and legs. The feet, legs, and thighs. So let me just make sure that okay, I'm on the right track. If you are interested in participating in this crochet together, because it's not a crochet alone. If you're interested, the link to purchase the pattern is in the description of this video. And if you are interested in purchasing My Kind of String yarn, the link to the My Kind of String yarn Etsy shop is also in the description of this live video. So yeah. Are y'all with me? What are y'all up to? Like, what are you currently working on if you're working on your parts? Are y'all making good timing? Hey, Barbette. Good to see you. How far are you along with the summer night crochet design? Are you up to part 2 or are you still on part 1 like some of us? I'm on part 2, but I didn't finish part 1. But I promise I'm going to get it all done today. I'm going to have part 1 and part 2 done and second arm. Okay, so we're together on this. So you have... Listen, I wasn't actually being funny at the moment. Because had delinquent over here. I still got Friday's work that I have to finish, but for the purposes of us crocheting together and being on part 2, that's what we're doing. But by today, I'm not going to be delinquent. The struggle is real. Here's the thing, and this is what I'm going to say. Because this design has a lot of color changing, you don't want to fall too far behind. And I say this to you because I'm also saying it to me, like, girl, stop playing. Get it together. Don't let too much time go by, because then it's gonna look like, who do you think you are? You're gonna start looking like all this color changing, all these strings, you're not gonna. And the thing is, I want you to stay motivated. I want you to stay excited about the fact, because this is a really great design. It's a really great design. So I'm just saying, let's go. Did you at least start working on it though? Did you start part 1? Because again, it's a big design. And when I say big design, I don't necessarily just mean the size, because the size is big. She's bigger than what we've been doing in recent times, right? Slightly. But the amount of color changing is a lot. And that's mostly what I mean by it's a big design. There is a lot of color changing. So maybe, but it is Alicia art, so take your time too. So I say take your time and hurry up. Right? No, but it's a big design. Let's see. Yeah. But like I was saying before, we took our little brief intermission for the second part of part 2. I honestly just prefer this new format. Of being able to work together in real time. You know what's funny? So this is kind of how we initially started. Remember, if y'all been rocking with me since the beginning of My Kind of Thing University, this was what we did. Now, it was less formal, meaning I was showing you on camera with just my hands what to do, how to do it, and I implored you and encouraged you to keep a notebook so that you can write it down, because I was not writing out the pattern initially for it because my approach was open-ended. This is how I'm doing it. This is the way to do it. This is the technique to do it. And you can do it like this, like I'm showing you and like I'm telling you, and you can write it down. Or you can kind of write your own notes and modify where you want to modify, but you have the visual and you have me speaking and telling you what I'm doing, how many rows you need to do, and so on and so forth. That was initially the format, remember, in the very beginning of My Kind of Thing University, right? But then I was like, okay, crochet alongs, how other people were doing crochet alongs. And it's pretty much just like, here's the instructions. Here's what we're doing by this date. Here's what we're doing by the other date. And none of it was on camera, right? And then finally for assembly, the whole assembly was on camera. So all the pieces that we made separately on our own, we're putting them together, right? That was the evolution. It took some of the work off of me having to sit on camera, because the other thing too is, if we were relying on me to show you piece by piece by piece, one, these videos would be like how they used to be. They used to be hours long. Each session would be like at least 3 hours, right? And I was like, okay, I need to take some of the pressure off of me. And I need to take some of the pressure off of me, because ultimately, you don't have to stay for the whole thing. You can come out, go back in, and then you can access the replay, right? So I had to take some of that pressure off of me. And so this here, this is cool for all of us, right? And I like being able to kind of talk to y'all, and I think it's also cool for y'all to see me more now, opposed to just my hands. I think that's cool. Just went ahead and started decreasing back to row 25. Right, let's see. Let me look, Blue Jay. Where's your pattern? Blue Jay? Because your pattern should also tell you where the decreases are. Oh, okay. So I see why. Because so I modified it in real time on Friday. Sure, if you're following what is this on my screen? If you're following the pattern, the pattern says to 20. Oh, I don't always think it's a touch. Sometimes it's about touch. If you're following the pattern says to 21. If you're following my real-time modification from Friday, 25. After 25. So once you finish 25, you can begin your decreasing. If you don't follow the modification, you can begin your decreasing after 21. But yeah, so it's up to you. Okay, right. So yeah, that was the modification. And that modification also means that your wig cap will also have to be modified for that. And once I get to the wig cap, I'll put that in there too. The only reason why I didn't send it out with the modification that I made is because there might be other things that I want to change when I go to it. I don't anticipate that there will be, but who knows? I'm real funny like that sometimes, and I'm trying to work on it, but I just have a real thing about, sometimes I'm just like, nah, let's see what happens if I do this, so, and I don't know how to not do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, back to the conversation that we were having before we took our intermission. So AI, be mindful. It can be a helpful tool, but you don't want to lean too heavily on it, because leaning too heavily on the AI component, one, doesn't accurately depict what you want to depict usually, or sometimes. Let me not say usually, sometimes you might get a different result that you're looking for. The other thing that you want to be considerate of is that they're real artists that AI kind of takes from. meaning AI steals. AI is a thief, can be a thief. AI can be a blatant copyright violator, in that it takes the ideas of humans and does its own thing with it, and no humans get credit for it or recognition for it or monetization or funding from it. So be mindful. Supporting AI might actually ultimately be, kind of putting other people out of business. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying don't use it at all. I'm saying be mindful of how you use it, how often you use it, and what you use it for. Because, I don't know, AI gives me, you know what, I'm not going to say that here. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't trust it. That's it. That's what I'm gonna say. It gives me colonizer vibes. I had to say it. All right. AI gives me colonizer vibes. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna leave it at that. So just be mindful. Don't be too hype about it. So listen, I had to bring that up in the very beginning. It doesn't give me magic circle vibes, because the other thing is that magic circle, although I don't find it to be magical at all and I don't trust it, people use it. Lots of people use it. So I can't completely knock the magic ring technique. I just don't use it because I don't trust it. And there's a lot of things that I don't trust. If y'all been rocking with me from the beginning, y'all know that's one of my lines for a lot of things. Sometimes me saying I don't trust something is my way of saying I don't want to learn nothing new, or I don't want to do something new. And I could admit to that. There's some things I'm like, if it worked for me and it works and I use it, I'm not changing it. And that's not always true, but that's sometimes me being stubborn, right? But the other times when I say I don't trust it, I genuinely am like, no, I don't trust it. Because I got too much attention. And I don't understand why I got so much attention and why so many people are on it. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna jump on a bandwagon. I'm not a bandwagon hopper. Yeah, so there's that. Just want to make sure that both my arms look the same. I don't want to have, the things looking too different. Oh, this is the thing that I meant to tell you on Friday when we were working on the head and body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the bobble stitch for the thumb, I do a full bobble stitch, which is basically the yarn over component. I do it to where it is 6 loops on the hook, right? For the belly button though, I only make it so that it's about 4 loops on the hook. 4 loops. Because ultimately I want the belly button to be visible, but I don't want it to be as big as the thumb needs to be. So the belly button is usually a smaller bobble, right? So yeah. And depending on what aspect of the design you're making, you can make the bobble smaller or bigger by the amount of yarn over you do. But yeah. So after that bobble stitch for the thumb, we then do I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose my place, because sometimes I lose my place. And a good way to not lose my place is to have the thing stop right where I am. Yeah, and then you're gonna single crochet in the remaining 13 stitches. Can you hear me okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now why? Oh, okay. I'm about to say why is it only 12? Because I didn't count the one directly after the bumper stitch. Okay, I just want to make sure, because you know what I realized too? Sometimes when I'm sitting and comfortable, my normal speaking voice is one of those things where if you're not sitting right next to me, you might not even hear me. And it took me years to realize this. And it's really crazy, but this is what happens when, you know, you live alone and you don't have to have conversations regularly. You know, a lot of times, you know, I'm used to sitting in quiet spaces and whatnot, and so speaking doesn't happen when I'm home alone, right? But then being in the company of others, for the longest time, people be like, "What'd you say?" You know, and again, I'm not a quiet person, not really. But I don't know. So yeah. So if you can't hear me, just let me know and I'll speak up. So we are on row 6, and row 6 says that we are decreasing every 5 stitches, right? Or something of that nature. If you got the pattern, then you know. 2, 3, 4. But yeah, we're gonna have summer night done. She's gonna be so cool. But this is the other thing. We are going to have a makeup day. And makeup days are probably, not a makeup day, but makeup days. But makeup days are probably, I don't even want to say probably, makeup days are going to be conducted on TikTok. And efforts for me to get the numbers up for my YouTube and my TikTok in the same realm of space as my numbers for Facebook and Instagram. You know, they say times are a-changing, and so, you know, the things that we used to do and the ways that we used to do them, it's time to modify and upgrade them. And so TikTok and YouTube are spaces that I have neglected over the years, and they don't nearly have the following or the information or the visibility that my Instagram and Facebook has. And that's mostly because I'm horrible at multitasking. And when I say horrible at it, I don't like to do it, so I don't do it. But, you know, I have to make certain efforts sometimes to do more than one thing at a time. You know, the whole kill 2 birds with 1 stone situation. So in efforts to make sure that my TikTok and my Instagram, my TikTok and my YouTube grows the way it needs to grow. I have to start doing more things in these spaces, right? So take a minute, right? And hit the like button. If you're here and you see this and you like this, take a minute. If you haven't subscribed to the My Kind of Thing YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can see every time we go live and you can see the latest things, what's happening with My Kind of Thing. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're on there 7, okay. You know, and this is just important, right? So we're gonna make sure that we spread the word, because we do really cool things here at My Kind of Thing University. You know, we've done some really cool things over the last few years, and I think it's important that people know that we exist, right? It's important that people know we exist, and the space exists. you know, a space where we crochet dolls, and our dolls are really cute, and they represent little black girls, and they represent little brown girls. Um, we do a good job of that here, and I think more people should know that this exists, this space exists. So let's see, what part am I up to? I just did 7. Okay. Now with me, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I wish there wasn't so many music restrictions, because it'd be nice to have a nice little background music, you know, while we create. Nothing too loud to kind of disturb anything, but you know, something cool and soft enough to kind of, you know, add to the vibe. I told you on our Friday night sessions, I would drink and have some nice sounds in the background, but drinking makes me sleepy, and it might even make me unable to follow along with the pattern. So I don't want to get too relaxed, right? Because the other thing drinking might do is drinking might make me say things that I probably shouldn't say. We don't want to do that, because that ain't what we do here. That's not the type of time we on. You know? So what did I just do? That was decrease of 4 stitches. Okay, now. But yeah. So y'all still with me? Y'all still with me? Are we still crocheting together? Let me just make sure. Line and crocheting don't make. Yeah, I can already tell you, I'm not a person who drinks anyway. When I say I don't drink outside of special occasions, right? So, yeah, like even in my apartment, I didn't regularly have alcohol. I don't think I've ever really had alcohol in there. I think one time, Tammy of Tammy B Creations, she had went back home. She's from Trinidad. And when she came back, she had brought me some rum. And when I tell you, I realized in that moment, oh shoot, there's never any alcoholic beverages in this house, ever. That rum, I think it was rum punch or something, it was in my freaking fridge for months. So yeah, not much of a drinker. And being here at my aunt's house, she's not much of a drinker either. I'm gonna say not much of a drinker, even less than I am. Like, she doesn't even necessarily drink on special occasions, neither of my aunts. So that's not really a thing. And not even on some over, you know, just fancy people who, you know, nothing like that. It's not a thing. Drinking, like I said, makes me sleepy, mostly. Maybe a little incoherent, I don't know. I don't even drink enough to know, really, what drinking actually, you know, the results of it would be. I've never been drunk in my life, so that's another thing. Yeah, I can't do no. Yeah, nah, I'm not a drinker. It's just, I don't know. I can't even, like, cause I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and you know, we hang out, and you know, most of them drink. I think out of the 7 of us, only 2 of us don't really, like, we're not really big on drinking, and that's myself and my younger sister. Like, we're not drinkers. Shoot, I'm so bad with certain things that sometimes I have to be reminded to eat. So that's another thing. I don't know. I'm hating when I start dropping things. Um, but yeah, yeah, I'm not much of a drinker, just cause. And I think some of my relatives find it hilarious um, when I do drink occasionally, because like I said, I either get really tired, like I don't know, it's just, I was just gonna ask if you wait. No. So right, need to know only. Okay, who are you? What's your name? Because based on you asking me, you are clearly a My Kind of Thing University alumni. Because if you're asking me if I ate, then you know, you know how it goes, and you know who I am. So wait, because y'all always have different names and different spaces. So who is need to know only? Because yeah, I have not eaten yet. I had coffee, but I haven't eaten any food today yet. Based on that comment, I know you know me. I know we know each other. Of course. Thank you. And Dawn Jesse in particular has inboxed me randomly, not just on days where we're live and whatnot, but just randomly, have you eaten today? So shout out to you, Dawn Jesse. No, I have not eaten yet today, but I'm gonna. And here's another thing, being here with my aunts, my aunt doesn't allow it. So she'll be like, "What'd you eat today?" So, and my cousins, like, so that's not going to persist much. They're like, okay, so no, I. And congratulations to you. I know that it's your son graduating, but my belief and understanding is that when you have a whole kid that finished, that went through elementary, junior high school, and then college, their degree is your degree. So congratulations on your degree. Congratulations to you and your son graduating college. You did a great job. Job well done, Mom. So congratulations. But I'm going to eat when this is done. And I feel really good because I had coffee. And you know, when I had coffee, I feel extra chatty. So, yes, Dawn Jessie, definitely one of my peeps. Like when I tell you, like she'll be like, just randomly, I don't know, what did you eat today? And I have to be like, no, not yet, but I'm gonna. Usually that's the answer, but I'm getting better. I just have such tunnel vision sometimes that when I'm like on a roll, when I'm really trying to do something, which is almost all the time, I'd be like, oh, eating is such an inconvenience. I just want to be going. I just want to be doing. And having to stop to eat is like, yo, you interrupted my flow. Me and my cousins, we have a group chat. Hilarious, because like I said, I'm staying here with my aunts, and it's a big house, and my cousins, my cousins are here and all of that too. They live on the first floor, and so on and so forth, right? So, I have a cousin. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I have a really amazingly talented cousin who is a member of the group, the Platters. I don't know if y'all familiar with that, but he's an amazing performer and singer, and he does a lot of traveling and touring and whatnot, right? And so me and his sister were raised like really, really close together because I'm one of 7, but I'm the only one of the 7 that doesn't have a pair. So she was my partner, my pair. Either way, we always laugh because the 3 of us are really close, right? And he was teasing us because we have similar habits. I think you all might have met my cousin before. But we have similar habits where we're like so focused sometimes that we forget to eat, and we've been like this since we were little. We get really in a creative zone. We're always doing something to that effect. So we had a conversation the other day, and he was going in on us about taking care of ourselves. And he was like, yeah, y'all need to stop playing. And you need to you need to make sure you eat. Like, how are you going all this time and not eating? And he had so many jokes about, oh yeah, you just wait until you almost pass out, or you wait till you got the shakes, and then you're like, oh, I should eat. And so my cousin goes, the body usually gives you warning signs that it's time to eat. Tell him, like, relax, we got this. He's like, yeah, your little convulsions are just Mother Nature's way of telling you you should eat. And I was like, well, maybe, right? But also, a stomach growling is usually a sign. The body's like, hey, you need to eat something. The problem is that I have gotten so accustomed to bypassing that warning system that usually it takes the next step for me to be like, oh, okay, stop and eat, which can be a lot of different things like dizziness, like little pops of light, okay, lightheadedness, weakness, and occasionally little sweaty shakes. I know it's unhealthy and I'm not making light of it. However, again, sometimes I am hyper focused, and those are some of the things that it's almost like, hey, like a real hard, get it together. You gotta go handle it. So he teases us. But he's like, hey, none of that. And because of that, we have a whole system in place oftentimes that, they're like, did you eat? And the same thing for her too, so it's not just me. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, I just read this. And no debt? Oh, shouts out to you, Dawn Jessie. That's a big deal. That's a big one. Graduating and no debt. That's a big one. Oh, that's a big one. That's, shoot. That's as big as the degree. So yeah, because I tell you, higher education will financially obliterate you if you let it. It will. Oh, student loans, man, trying to violate people. It almost got people like F education altogether. That's how annoying and upsetting it can be. So again, congratulations to you and your son for completing his undergrad and completing it debt-free. That's a big deal. Definitely worth acknowledging, recognizing, and celebrating. That's a big deal. But yeah, so are we all on part 2? I'm asking again because there are some people that joined in, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Are we all on part 2, or are some of us finishing up part 1? And we're going to have part 1 and part 2 done by Friday. What does the calendar say? Friday, June 27th. We're going to be ready for part 3. What is part 3 anyway? I don't have it printed out, and it's not on this here. What is part 3? I don't know what part 3 is. Is part 3 accessories? Part 2 row. Okay, row 23 on arms, on the second arm, right? Okay. Well, you ahead of me because I'm on row 16. And can I just tell y'all again, not bragging or anything, not saying this because I made it, but saying it because I create the kind of things, part 2 first arm, good. I create the kind of things that I would like to see. I design in a way that I would like to follow along, meaning if I were to follow a pattern, this is what I want the pattern to have or include or look like. And so shouts out to this crochet design because I've given you all the color order and I've given you the information required to change based on whatever color you picked as your main color. So all the way down under the beach bag, I mean where the beach bag is, it has the color order, and then it tells you if your main color is X, then you start with this. If your main color is Y, then you start. I did that. I did the freaking stuff required for that. For you. So, I'm just saying. Like, and this is me bragging because I did do it. I did it. And I did it for that reason. And I did it because I think it's important that you get it the way you want to get it, or the way I think that you should get it. I did that. That is included in the pattern. So, it's a big deal. I was really like, I want to make it so that if you want to do something slightly different, if you don't want orange to be your main color, if you don't want pink to be your main, if you want a different color to be your main color, this is what you need to. Thank you. So that's how I like to give it up. That's how I like for you to have it, because that's how I like to have it. So you are most welcome. That's how we do here. We not regular. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let me put some stuff in here. But yeah. So, and once you know how the colors are arranged, like the order that they're supposed to go in, then from there you can work it however you want to work it. And here's another thing. Low key, just like a lot of the My Kind of Thing University things that I teach, this is also my subtle way of acclimating you all to color, right? Because I know before we've talked about color a lot, right? And it's one of the skill sets that I have. I'm really, really good with color. I am what I have called, I am a self-proclaimed color connoisseur, sparkle specialist as well, but color connoisseur. I love alliteration. Can you tell? But because I have an affinity for color and color arrangement, this was one way of kind of getting you all to understand color theory in an informal way, right? Color theory is, basically understanding, the colors and the different shades and how they're arranged sometimes, and what colors go best with other colors and why, and some of that is really cool if you're interested. But if you're a person who doesn't have any special interest in color and you just want to know, how do I decide what's a good color combination to choose from? This is my subtle way of giving you a little look at color theory. You start with the basic Roy G. Biv. Now, My Kind of String is kind of a loose rendition of Roy G. Biv in that I don't use red. I swapped out red. I totally got rid of it because I'm not a fan of red. Even though the rainbow includes the color red, instead of red, I started with pink. Pink is my red, right? And I don't love indigo, so I got rid of that. And violet, people call violet purple, violet, all of those wonderful things. But I kind of narrowed it down specifically to these 6 colors to simplify it. And these colors are all related, or the way they're arranged is in relation to one another, just like in the rainbow. And one of the things that you can use to kind of decide with color arrangement is the importance of relationships. According to color theory, some colors don't go together because of the fact that they're not related to each other, or it's almost like, hey, don't do these colors together because they clash. Personally, I don't believe in color clashing anymore. And when I say that, I just mean like, sure, there are some colors that look better together than others. They're more pleasing to the eye than others. right? Whatever. That's all subjective. Um, but you can pretty much put anything with anything if you know the right shade. And that's when shade comes into play. Like when, there are certain colors that they don't look right in their normal state together. Like green and orange. It's weird to put them next to each other unless you're doing something pumpkin related. But if you change the shade, they absolutely can do a nice little dance together, you know? Um, but ultimately, those are two colors that people don't necessarily put together, at least not in their natural, normal state and shade. But I'm sure you've all seen in the fall, we're liable to get some burnt orange and some forest green together. And that doesn't look as crazy and it's not as hurtful to the eyes. So there is a way to make everything hang out together harmoniously. You just have to kind of know the right shade. And then sometimes, how about this? How about sometimes, even when things supposedly clash, I don't care, I still like them together. People say they clash, or people have agreed, I guess, popularly that, oh, these two shouldn't be together. I don't believe in that. Sometimes I'm like, I know these two don't really hang out together. I know that nobody likes to see them together, but I like to see them together, and so I'm going to put them together. So it's really all subjective. And my biggest rule of thumb with color, for all of you who maybe have never heard this before from me, most of you all know that in the realm of crochet, as long as your stitches are neat, you can put anything together. We don't even care about color at this point. Them stitches are on the money. They are on point. And so what they going to say, oh, I don't like those colors. So what? Somebody loves them colors. But them stitches are undeniable. So as long as you do neat stitches and neat work, you can really put together anything you want. And that is how innovation occurs. Because it's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen these things together, but they look amazing. You know why they look amazing? Because you did that with them stitches. So I'm just saying, that's my overall rule. Forget color. Make sure your work is neat and them stitches are right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yep. So that's my theory on that. Just count one more time. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Since we modified the head, are we modifying the area? Nope, nothing else. The wig cap, yes. Definitely will have to modify the wig cap. You may need more rows. And again, if you're using my kind of string yarn, then what I'm telling you is what it is, right? If you're not using my kind of string yarn, you probably got to modify anyway. Again, if you are using yarn that the pattern was not designed with, you may have to make modifications for that, because you have to make up for the fact that the texture of the yarn may be different. And that I can't tell you, because I have not used any other yarn to design this but my kind of string yarn. But if you're using my kind of string yarn and you made the modification to add the 4 rows for the head to make the head longer, then you absolutely will have to add rows to the wig cap to make the wig cap longer. I don't know how many more rows. I know for you specifically. But again, you're going to have to modify it anyway because you're using a different yarn. So let's see. One, two, three. We're working on the elbow now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But yeah, color theory. I like color, so anything related to color, I have always been, or always had a special interest. Um, I have always found colors and mixing and matching them really, really fun to do, even as a little kid. So working with colors, especially vibrant colors, always excited me. So um, but yeah, we about to finish another arm, and then we're gonna do one leg on camera. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to see how many. Yeah, so I was gonna say this third ball of my kind of string yarn should be enough to finish. Excuse me. Should be enough to finish this design. Because it requires 3 balls of my kind of string yarn. Let's see. Oh, okay. Lost my place. 2, 3, and 4, 4. 2, 3, 4, 4. But it is really warm today. It was hot yesterday too, but supposedly there's a heat wave coming to NYC. So hopefully that'll be alright. Okay, I'm gonna roll 24 of the arms. Yeah. I think this is a cool format too. I think this is a cool way to do this kind of thing. You know, it's more. Yeah, the other thing too is, I'm always surprised by the fact that there are still some people that participate or not, occasionally here and there with my kind of thing, that don't know what I look like. It's just like, you know, it just goes to, it speaks to the fact that I really like to have the work on display. You know, I'm not a huge fan of me being on camera or, you know, but I love like the work that I do. Like I love the work. I love seeing the work. I love doing the work. I love sharing the work. So, you know, but yeah, you go down all of my stuff and, you know, you can count on a hand or so how many times you'll actually see me opposed to the work. Because I think the work is much more important to see than me. That's all, you know. And I just think it's cool to just make sure that the work and the mission is always visible and there, you know. So that there's no confusion about what this is. You know, the goal here is to promote pride and confidence in children of color, particularly girls, and more specifically Black and brown girls, in efforts to combat self-hate. That is the mission every time. You know? through crocheting, through crochet doll making. That is the goal. So when you see this, you see we're doing something important. We're not just here playing with yarn. We're not just here playing with hooks. There is a point, and I like that. I like that there is a method to the madness, so to speak. There is a goal. There is a purpose, right? Okay, so yeah, that's the goal. That's the point. That's the purpose. And I don't know if that's your goal and your purpose too, but I know that that's my goal and my purpose. Every design that I create, I am extremely proud of. I spend hours, thinking about it and creating it. And that's what makes them all really, really special, because like there is a point and a purpose. Like I made this because it's important to me, and I think it's important to you. It's important to us, And so, with love and purpose, I create. And if you look, I think you can tell. I've only ever gotten really great feedback from customers that have purchased my designs, my dolls. I don't think I've ever gotten a bad remark or review of the dolls that people have purchased. I can't think of a single time. So yeah, in all 12 plus years that I've been in business, so 24 through 30, let's see. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. 30. Almost finished the second arm. We are doing it. Oh, we're gonna be so on point. We're gonna be up to schedule. We're gonna be right on time. We are gonna be right on time. Come Friday, part 3, no delinquency. What y'all know about that? We have to schedule some makeup days. So in the My Kinda String Facebook group, we're gonna have to discuss makeup days. We're gonna have to discuss days where we're just gonna gather our unfinished projects, and we are just gonna sit on camera and we are gonna do them together. We're gonna be like, okay, here's some arms and some legs from such and such, and we're gonna. I have not just designs that need to be finished. And y'all notice I'm looking over there because they're looking at me. I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them just sitting there looking really good. My aunt loves that they're sitting there. But the reason why they're sitting there is because they're not finished. They look finished, but they're not. There's one that doesn't even have a face. Got sunglasses and everything. Sunglasses, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, nothing. Right? That's the green one, right? She's got earrings though. And then all of them, I think maybe one of them, the one in yellow, our yellow girl with the braided ponytails, she has her button on, because remember they all are supposed to get a button for their tops, right? None of them have their buttons. except the girl in yellow. And none of their flowers are tacked in place, and they need to have their flowers kind of tacked in place. I don't use hot glue for attaching pieces because I don't like the use of hot glue too much. When I do use hot glue, it's very in very small amounts, because you know hot glue can be scary. But they're in, you know, and then there's a whole one that's just in pieces because she has her cornrows and she still needs her beads. I get 99.5% done at Starbucks. Yes, Dawn Jessie. And you know what? I do that occasionally, especially from a design standpoint. If I'm doing like a third or fourth, or in the case of these, I got 7 versions of this doll, and I'm patting myself on the back because out of 7 of them, 6 of them are assembled, right? 6 of them are assembled. 5 of them, hair is done and everything or whatever, right? Like the only thing that's not done with 1, 2, 3 is their buttons aren't sewn on and their flowers aren't tacked down. This one, her flowers aren't tacked down. So I'm just saying, I did really good for having 7 versions of the doll. And so we're gonna have to sit and kick it and do makeup days. So 1, 2. Oh no, not like that. See? Not even know. About to finish this arm so we can get on the feet and legs. And you'll notice that for the feet and legs pattern, instructions, there are instructions for the right foot and the left foot, right leg, left foot. It's different. It's slightly different. So you want to pay attention to that because it is important and it matters. Again, another reason why, you know, my designs, you know, we don't play over here. We're real legitimate over here. I'm just saying, we don't do regular stuff. That little book that they had on Amazon talking about my brown doll, I don't know who that is, but we don't do that. You know, we you know, and I don't want to be one of those people that throw shade in order to big up myself, but I ain't like that. I do not like that. I have a friend who has a real crochet doll book called Yolanda Jordan of My Pretty Brown Doll, and her book is called My Pretty Brown Doll, and it really shows pretty brown doll instructions, and the pictures on the book is the picture that you get when you follow the instructions that my friend designed. So I'm just saying, I don't know what they're doing over there with the AI and all of that, and the lion and the misrepresentation and whatnot, but real pretty brown dolls made by a real pretty brown person, you know, not some rinky-dink money grab that somebody's trying to do off of a name that they didn't create. So I don't like that. I don't like that. Support real artists who do real work, who spend real time and energy and efforts creating and designing. You know, those are the people you want to support. You don't want to support somebody that's jacking somebody else's swag in order to trick you into believing they did something. That's pretty brown doll crochet work. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is too, you want to show love and support for these things that exist that aren't necessarily trending. You know, that's the other thing. One of my favorite things is, or one of the favorite things that I put up a lot is love who you are, even when it's not trending. Because sometimes People only rock with stuff if it's trending. Meaning, oh, if everybody else is doing it, okay, I'll do it too, right? You know? And I don't like that. There's some things I just love, whether it's trending or not. Like being black, for example. You know, I don't want to be one of those black people that the only time you see me loving on me and loving my culture and loving, you know, my ethnicity and all of that is when, you know, the holidays come around or when it's Black History Month. I be on it all year long, you know. I be loving who I am, whether it's trending or not, you know. I don't want to be one of those black people that only want to be black when it's trendy. Only wanna, you know, this is supposed to be something. Only want to be proud of who I am when it's trendy to be proud. When it's, you know. So, I'm not one of those. I be on it all year long. All year long. So we got 2 arms right now. What the heck? We got 2 arms. And there's no right or left arm for the instructions. They both work out the same way. It doesn't matter. Right? And for the most part, they look like they're the same. Sounds like they did a good job with stuffing. They're stuffed evenly. And now, let me tell you, the feet now, you got to pay attention. I'm creating the feet and legs because, like I said, things change based on whether you're doing the right or the left. So, let us begin, shall we? Again, same hook, same yarn color, and we're gonna get started. Now, the first 2 rows is not the same as the foot and all that, so you gotta pay attention, because I'm gonna tell you, I made the mistake myself of not paying attention, thinking, oh, it's going to be just like that. No, and it wasn't. And by the time I realized that I had made a mistake, I was like, I was probably like, 16 or something, or 12. Before I realized, wait, why am I not on row 12? Oh, you know why you're not on row 12? Because you did something different for row 2. So pay attention, because it's, you know, it's a subtle difference. You know? It's a subtle difference. So you gotta make sure. And so this is what I tell y'all. Somebody asked me earlier in the first part, how many hours a day do I crochet? Y'all see how long I can sit here on camera. Imagine when I'm just creating. And I sit real comfortably, make sure I got, what I need. And I get in the zone. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, this is what we do. This is how we do it. Sometimes there's music. Sometimes there's a book in the background. Maybe there's a movie or something on the iPad. What happens is, because I'm looking, I don't necessarily need to see. So, there's that. There's a bunch of things that I've listened to and not actually looked at. But listening is just as good. As a matter of fact, I'd argue that listening is a more important skill. So, I'll just be listening to things. And I love, the music aspect, but the problem is that I like to sing too, and I can't sing and count. So, okay, Giovanna, thank you so much for hanging out, though. I appreciate you. I think, thank you for always showing up. Let me make sure I did this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. leg popping. And this leg popping. And we gonna make it do what it do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Y'all know I don't trust no magic ring. Y'all know that. It's funny because why does it say chain 4 for the feet? And it says chain 5 for the head. I don't know, because you can do either or. It don't really matter. It's a nice breeze coming through the window. 6, 7, 8, 9, and yeah, it's a nice breeze. I'm gonna tell y'all, it was thunder this morning that to me did not sound like thunder. It sounded like something else, and I'm gonna tell you, it sounded so much like it was not thunder that I was like, let me see what the news is saying. So I had to go on YouTube and look and see like, hey, is something happening that I need to know about? Because that did not sound like thunder. And you know, with all of the stuff that people are talking about, all of the things that are being said, yeah. I was like, that didn't sound like thunder to me. I'm just saying. And I don't understand what the F all this phone and whatnot has been doing. Since when and why? I'm not even touching it. I was, oh, that's what it is. Am I actually hitting this every time? Jeez. Yeah. I said, wait a minute. Are we sure this is thunder? That's all I'm gonna say. I was like, that ain't sound right. So, but they ain't say nothing on the news, and I don't even know if that's any kind of confirmation. But, because y'all know, the older you get, the more skeptical you get about things that you hear and see. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, we're gonna have to do a makeup day. And I need to look at the calendar and be like, okay, we're gonna do a makeup day on blah blah blah. Get your joints ready, get your things ready. I got dolls, like one doll in particular. When I tell you, the doll has been done, like the face, the body, everything, and it's all put together. She's just naked and her hairstyle hasn't been determined. And I have made her 2 outfits that, I don't know, I didn't really love. And because I didn't really love it, like, and I never made any shoes. So she just hanging out. And then I got other dolls, like, I got dolls that are mostly put together, like, because when we were doing the crochet alongs and I was doing the lives, you know, I would just do one leg or one arm, or maybe one leg, you know, and so I got a one-legged minion design because I never attached the other leg. And then I got another minion design that is all put together, I think. Yeah, but I didn't do her sneakers, and I didn't attach her ponytail. Like, I have various stages of completion, just hanging out. He said huge bonus. I don't know why I keep dropping this. Huge bonus. Yeah, huge bonus. Yeah. It was crazy. Where are you located, Blue Jay? Are you also a New Yorker? What is your name, Crochet? Because I don't, you know how sometimes, like I said, y'all have different names from your emails and your Facebooks and your Instagrams and your, because I feel like we're familiar. I just didn't know or don't know who you are here on YouTube. Are you a Bronx or a New York City native? Yeah, them balloons was crazy. Let me just make sure I have, because the other thing I realized too is I didn't charge this. Let's see. After row 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, I know I've had y'all here for a few hours now, right? We started at like maybe a little after 2, and it's almost 5. Are we good? Are we all right to keep going? So I'm thinking maybe we won't finish the whole foot and leg, but you know, because I don't want to. My goal is to try not to keep y'all more than a couple of hours. We're already past the 2-hour mark, right? Because 2:05. Yeah, we're already. Yeah, I don't want to. This is not like how it is with Facebook too. Because the other thing is, when they are long videos, they take forever to upload onto YouTube. And the other thing too is, who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to pay an editor to come in and edit them down. You know, a little bit maybe. I don't know, but we're supposed to hang out. It's kind of like we're chilling in each other's living rooms, right? We're all in the same living room, just crocheting and kicking it. Okay. And that's the thing. These feet I did a little bit differently than I can remember doing them before. I don't know. Like I said, I've designed so many things that, you know, I have a lot of options in order to accomplish certain shapes and things. And so, even if the shape is similar, sometimes the instructions are very, very different in how we get there. Like all the different ways that I've now taught you all to make crochet doll heads, right? There's so many different ways that you can do it. So yeah, 2, 4, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6, and maybe it'll be a little bit more lively. I gotta find some non-copyrighted music to kind of set the mood for the background, because I just be feeling like sometimes it's me and maybe the sound of the things around me is just, it's not as appealing, you know. It might even be a little boring or dull. I mean, I'm not a lively person, not usually, so. But I don't want to bore y'all with death with just the noises around me and the sound of my voice. You know, and I don't want to be on here giving my gripes about life and reality. But I do feel particularly proud. Oh, okay, I just want to make sure. Blue Jay, where are you? Are you in New York City? What is your actual name, your first name? Because I feel like I'm not sure who you are, and I think we're familiar, except I don't know, I'm not familiar with this name for you. whole time we've been talking and kicking it, and I don't even know exactly who I'm talking to. And I feel like we're familiar, and I should know who you are. But yeah, I just, I don't know. The things that I'd be excited about, I don't know if a lot of you be excited about it. And like I said, we're crocheting and kicking it, right? We are. But I don't want it to just be like, I don't want to assume that, oh, the sound of my voice is cool enough to keep it going, you know? Let me just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So we'll make good time now. 2. Oh, okay. Okay, but we are familiar, right? Like, you're not like some random new person to MKTU, right? Because I'm like, I feel like we do know, but I'll keep calling you Blue Jay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I don't want to put you out there if you want to run from the popo. you want to run. You don't want nobody to know. Hey, I respect it. I get it. You don't want them folk to know who you are where you be at. But okay. Man, these feet for this design is a little something. But yeah. So, you know what I want to share with y'all that I feel like I haven't talked enough about, and I don't know, I just never really talk enough about certain things, because I have to balance the creative component and the promoting component. Like, I love creating. I don't love promoting and advertising and posting. I don't love that aspect, and that is why sometimes it's like, oh, you did this or this exists. And it's because creating, oh, I could do that all day. I can sit in silence and make. And when I say make, I'm not even just talking about crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not even talking about crochet. I'm talking about writing and world building and all of that stuff. And so, I don't know how many of you all are familiar with the dolls and things that I've turned into really fun illustrations. But there are about 30 illustrations that I have that are based on dolls that I've created. And I'm really proud of them. And they are the foundation or the basis for what's going to ultimately come up next in the world of my kind of thing. I've mentioned in various occasions that I mentioned on various occasions that I am creating designs and things that I want to eventually write stories about and children's books about. And a lot of the illustrations are in fact based on those things. So when you see some of the illustrations, and if you've gone through the videos on this channel, which I implore you to do, I have a short video that illustrates, I don't know how many of the illustrations, but they are basically illustrations of doll designs, and I really, really love them. The imagery is beautiful. I have this amazing illustrator. Her name is Felicia Whaley, and she always does an amazing job making the dolls and my feelings about the dolls, or my background story about the dolls, come to life in the illustrations that she creates of them. She is also the person who has done all of my logos, the logo for My Kind of Thing, the logo for My Kind of String Yarn, and the logo for the My Kind of Thing University. She does an excellent job of depicting exactly what I want, the way I want it. And so, if you're not familiar with it, I'm gonna have it kind of tangled up. But look at this is the My Kinda String yarn logo. You see that yarn, and the My Kinda is written the same way My Kinda is written, My Kinda Thing, and you see the string, the words of string is attached to the yarn. She does a really great job. And so she's the person who has turned some of my favorite doll designs into illustrations, and I'm really proud of it. And we've been doing this and building for 12 years now. So a lot of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it is my efforts to further this, to make sure that, we go a little bit further, we do a little bit more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Because remember, I'm starting off with the left foot because that's what the pattern says. So with the left foot, you go on 10 stitches, and then 11 for the right foot, you go on 11 stitches, then 10 stitches. And it tells you how to move the increases and decreases based on which foot or which leg you're working on. So that's also important to note. So maybe when you're doing the feet and legs component, you want to make sure that you are able to focus, because it's easy to make mistakes. I made mistakes designing them. I made mistakes correcting them. So I'm just saying, the feet and legs portion, you might really want to make sure that you are paying attention. And if you have the pattern printed out, maybe you want to highlight it in different colors accordingly. So maybe you want to highlight left foot, left leg, and maybe yellow. Highlight right foot, right leg, and blue or pink or whatever, just to make sure that you're aware that there is a difference in the instruction from doing one versus the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because that's the other thing. If you put down the work while you're in the middle of doing the leg or a foot, how are you gonna know which one you're doing? You do it on your tablet. You can highlight things on your tablet too if you want. Blue Jay. You should be able to have the highlight component. You should still be able to highlight it if you're using the tablet or the digital component, I think. Yeah, there should be the option to highlight it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. But just so that you don't lose track. But if you're just gonna work all the way through, at least do the one whole leg from start to finish. You just want to make sure that you don't mix it up, because there is a difference. The knee placement will be different if you do if you ignore that. Your knees and your feet won't line up the way that they should line up. The other thing, again, if you're using a yarn that is not My Kind of String yarn, I can't account for where knees and toes point or end up. This is the importance of designing with the yarn recommended for the pattern. So little things like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. so much good info. I will watch the replay tonight. Awesome. Thank you again for joining. And here's the other thing. Make sure you post your progress photos and the closed Facebook group ones. Okay, nope. I did something wrong with the math. I have to take it out and see. My numbers are wrong. But when you have your stuff, done, or even if you have part of it, not finished, you can post the pictures in the closed Facebook group, the My Kind of Strength Facebook group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Oh, that's right. I only got 34. Why do I only have 34 stitches? There's supposed to be 35. See? Very important. Very important. How did this mistake occur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. There was a mistake made somewhere down on the base. Yeah. And I don't know what that's about, but we got to figure it out right now. Let's see. Even further down. It happens. Definitely happens. So let's see. Is there something that I gotta stop with? I told y'all. It happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is where it happened. There is a little level of difficulty in talking and teaching and talking and working at the same time. So, and this is a perfect example of that. My increases were not up to par. There are some missing increases. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. All the way on the floor. It's not enough. And now I go back up. We're gonna make it do it again. Y'all still with me? Karen used to always be like, "You still alive?" She would go out, come back in like later and be like, "Oh, y'all still here? This is how it be." But I'm not going to keep you all Sunday. I just want to see how much of this leg we can get done before we call it a productive Sunday. So does anybody have any questions pertaining to the project? Any challenges yet? Okay, y'all still with me. Okay, Zay. I know it's so it can be a little like, especially if you got a nice little relaxing setting going, like I said, I always be worried about boring you all to death by talking and there's nothing else happening or nothing else in the background, like nothing to keep it lively. Like, we falling asleep here while I'm teaching. taking things out and having to redo them, you run the risk of having a strange tension because you don't necessarily, you're speeding, and so you might be moving faster than you want to move, and you might, like I said, strange tension is, you know, it might not necessarily be your natural tension, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so hopefully when I go to do the second foot, the base isn't so crazy or different from the second one. Because the second one is going to be done off camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, and I think this foot is done differently from the ways that I've done other feet, I think. Like I said, a lot of times I treat the designing component almost like I'm starting from scratch. And so if it sometimes feels like I'm starting from scratch. So if I'm like, maybe this foot looks like or is designed like another design, sometimes there might be similarities. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's similar. Sometimes it feels like it. Because again, the math, there are basic multiplication tables that I do use. So there is that aspect. Okay. Yeah. Because I feel like maybe this foot is similar to maybe Penelope Collin, maybe? I don't know. But there are sometimes similarities. I feel like also this foot may be similar to the Candy Witches, maybe. And here's the funny thing, it might be, might not be. The trick is, because I think those girls were done in the 7 multiplication table. And even though this is the 5 multiplication table, the base of the foot is 5 times 7, so it's both the 5 and 7 times table. So, in starting with one or the other does make a difference. Definitely makes a difference. So, but we are to, well, I'm up to row 8, left foot, row 8. I'm working on left foot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, you know, hopefully, because this is where I left off and have to take it out and start again. Hopefully I got it right and I'm not going to have the issue that I just had. And I think what we're going to do for this is we're going to go up to the knee and then we're going to end, because I'm looking at the amount of time that we've spent here. And like I said, I don't want these videos to be as long as they used to, because it's a little bit different from how things were done on Facebook, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good. Because the longer the video is, the longer it takes to upload on YouTube. And so whereas before you can just like go and, you know, join back in or look at it, the length of this live, because of that, it's going to take so long for it to completely upload, so you won't be able to access it right away. At least it doesn't look like it from my end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're on row 9. Alright, so that's the other reason why I want to kind of keep them within the parameters of a certain time frame. And I love the idea of an intermission, of ending and coming back. So we're going to definitely do that. And I'm going to have it to where it's a certain time where you'll be able to stop and maybe get something to drink or whatever. Like just a 5-minute intermission, 5 to 8 minutes. You know, that felt really good to do. Because it is a long time to be sitting in one spot, right? Maybe you need to stretch. And I'm going to do my best to make these videos more efficient. You know? Okay. And now we're on row 10. And number 10 is also, let's see. Yeah, 10 is the same for both feet. So, I'm not going to do anything different. But yes. You see this opening getting a little smaller. It's the perfect row to start your stuffing on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, so you want to make sure this is where I begin filling it. You do not want to, you don't want to wait until it gets too small, because you don't want to stretch out the stitches, because the goal really is to make sure that you are not pulling these stitches apart and exposing your stuffing. And I know that brings me to the fact that I miss, with all of my being, I miss the dark polyester fiber silk. I don't understand why Fairfield stopped making it. I don't know why they stopped it. But you know what I've learned just in practicing and having my own business is that things sometimes, they might seem like they're not doing well, and it's really not that they're not doing well, it just needs a little bit more time for people to catch on. And I feel like that's probably what happened with Fairfield. I think the numbers didn't, you have 2.5 bags recorded? I got 3. I have 3, and I'm telling you, I don't even know what occasion it is that I'm gonna, you know, bust them out. But yeah, I got 3 bags, and I'm just like, no, I'm not touching them. But I don't understand why they stopped making it. I don't understand it. My best guess is it wasn't doing the numbers that they wanted it to do right away. It wasn't doing the numbers that they expected it to do. Maybe it cost more to produce than they were able to, you know, maintain financially. I don't know, but I'm just like, it was a great idea. I didn't know anybody who didn't think it was a great idea. Oh, you didn't You didn't get any? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. But I still think it's a great idea. I definitely think that there's a place for it, and I don't know why they, stop. But you see, we're getting the foot. One of the things I love about the way I design, and I know, maybe people don't love it. I love it. My feet start off as circles. I wasn't making on. Oh, okay. But yeah, my feet start out as circles, and then my decreasing specifically makes it no longer a circle. And I know the thing is, right, if you want them to fit doll shoes, this isn't necessarily the ideal foot, whatever. I like the distinction of my feet. I'm so trifling, I still haven't touched my original. If you know, you know. Chris, James, and Bobby. We ran out of Chris. Chris is done. Chris is officially sold out. It's so funny. It's so funny that those of you who have been with us, been with me since the beginning of My Kind of String Yarn, you get the reference to Chris, Bobby, and James. We are so silly. We have, over the years, done some really great conversations and creative conversations. And I love that we have these little inside jokes. But yeah, I'm working diligently to make sure that My Kind of String stays in business, and it is hard work, but hopefully, because I have real big plans and dreams for My Kind of String Yarn, and it is a little bit more difficult, especially as things are much more expensive now, and it's harder to maintain certain things. But we're working really hard, and so hopefully we'll be able to re-up on some more Chris, Bobby, and James, because Bobby and James is running a little low too, but Chris is officially done. So we're gonna have to make sure that we do all of the things, because I still, I still need more colors. I still want not just more colors, but I want a glitter division. You already know there has to be a sparkle division. But time is always, to me, it's about time. It's about having the time for things to grow a certain way. How's Leon? Leon is still chilling. I just had to tell somebody on Facebook, because she goes in the comment section, she says, oh, I want this for my son, but without the cigarette. And I was like, first of all, ma'am, no, I didn't say that. I was like, it's not a cigarette. It's a lollipop. And I have the video of me showing that it's a lollipop and not a cigarette, because the amount of people that assume that Leon is smoking a cigarette and that it's not a lollipop is mind-boggling. Here I am, a doll maker, and here they are, all these fun, colorful, whimsical things, and they're dolls, and people still just look at this design and say, why does he have a cigarette? My question is, why do you think he has a cigarette? Of all the things it could be, it doesn't have to be a cigarette. Why doesn't your brain say, oh, maybe that's not a cigarette? But yeah, Leon is fine. He's still hanging out. I have not. And I don't know. I did say at one point, yeah, we gonna sell Leon. Leon gonna get purchased. I'm gonna put him up for sale. But I can't. I love him too much. And he does so well at career days that I think that he might just have to be a studio sample forever, because the little boys always love him on career day. So, yeah. Leon, y'all know Leon has been, there's been people scheming on Leon for a minute. If you don't know who Leon is, you got to follow My Kind of Thing and My Kind of Thing University to learn about who Leon is. Also known as Poppy Chulo. So, but he's good. I'm trying to see, did he have his hoodie on? I wonder. Because I've been moving things around, and upon moving, now I have to kind of remember where I put Leon, where he might be. Leon is in one of maybe 2 places, and I gotta remember where I put him. But he's chilling. The way I organize things, you know, he ain't laid up somewhere. He ain't, you know, where he's gonna be gone or missing or anything like that. But yeah, Leon should be fine. Okay, so what row are you all on? Because I am on the left foot, and I am on rows 12 through 16. So let me see. 12 through 14. I'm on row 15. So yeah. So 15, and you do have to, you absolutely have to, you really do have to make sure you stuff as you go. You got to stuff as you go. Because you don't want to try to shape the yarn or the body parts from the outside. That doesn't work. You absolutely have to make sure that you are adjusting it and putting it the way you need it needs to be put while inside, from the inside. Because there's no shaping or doing any of that from the outside. So let me ask you all this, and I'll put up a poll in the group to kind of assess what we're gonna need, or what best suits us. Do you prefer these being done on a Sunday or a Saturday? Remember, we used to do them on Saturdays, but I felt like Saturdays are usually people's days to run errands and do different things, and maybe not necessarily a day where you could sit and work, you know, for a certain amount of time. So I moved it to Sundays, and I felt like people felt better about these things being done on Sundays opposed to Saturdays. So let me know about that, and then I want to put up a poll to see when the best days and times are for, and maybe not even a poll, just maybe a poll. Sunday fun day. What did we used to have? We used to have Monday crochet fun days, you know, and that was an evening thing. But I just feel like, you know, Sunday is more of a relaxed day for most people, and I think last I looked, I mean, you still get a vote though. I mean, because you never know. Maybe your schedule, you know, is probably, it might be ideal. I don't know, but I want to get a consensus of what might work best overall, so that, you know, because when we do the makeup days, I want to make sure that everybody has access to them, because if the makeup days are going to be done live on TikTok, they're not going to be things that you're going to be able to watch the replay of. So it's going to be one of those things where you kind of had to be there, you know. So that's why I want to optimize the amount of people who are available to do these things with, you know, when we put in the time frame. So that's all. So I am now on row 17. And so as you can see from this design, right, we got to get a little ankle going, and we do, right? A little ankle situation. And now we're moving into the shape of the leg, which is like the calf component. Let's see. Let me just. Okay. I'm telling you, y'all see how I'll be looking like I didn't write this, like I didn't design this. You would think. But yeah, I promise you, I designed it. It is my work. It's just, I design and move on so quickly sometimes that it doesn't sink in. And so it can absolutely look foreign to me. Because the first thing I'm thinking is, why you did it like that? What are you trying to do? So, I promise you, it is my work. That's just a sign that I design and create a lot. Okay, now that I have that done, okay. We're 18 through the 20th, so for, sheesh, is that 11 rows? She's straight up. But yeah, so I'm thinking makeup days needs to be an evening, right? And I don't know what percentage of you all work during the day, or what percentage of you all are retired maybe, you know. So in the My Kind of Strange closed Facebook group, that's where I am going to present these kinds of questions. And you know what, now that I realize it doesn't have to just be that group, but it's important that you participate in that group, because that's where a lot of the action is going to be, like the centralized place where information and stuff is going to be. But also in the other groups, you know, the other crochet along, you know, I don't know if you all know this, but I put information in those groups as well. So, you know, but the thing is, a lot of you are in all of those, so sometimes it might seem repetitive. However, there are some people that are in some and not in others, and that's why you'll see the same posts in different spaces. So yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Because as I am approaching this doll's knees, we're going to begin wrapping up for this part 2 session. Alright. Notice the shape. It went from the foot to the ankle, and now it's spreading out just a little bit to the calf. And like I said, we want to continue to fill the space that we've created with our stuffing. Being mindful not to put too much stuffing in, but also you don't want to put too little, because you want to stuff it and make sure that it's firm, but you do not want to make it too squishy and soft where you are no longer using the space that you've created. You just want to make sure you fill the space that you've created. Fill the space you've created. Make sure that your stitches are uniform and neat. Make sure that your tension is consistent. And if you are someone who crochets very loose, you may want to consider using a smaller hook size if this is something that is that persists with you. Because I do know that there are some people that are like, oh, my stuffing is showing through my stitches. And I'm like, you know, what kind of yarn are you using? What kind of hook are you using? All of those things matter. But basically, regular tension, because I don't have a tight tension. My tension is just pretty, like I say, it's regular. The reason why I say it's not tight is because of the way that I loop my yarn through my fingers. That creates an automatic tension for me. Without doing that, my work might be looser than I'd like it to be. But by looping it through my fingers in that way, it creates its own tension that doesn't require me to exert any additional effort to doing so. So yeah. But you do need to stuff as you go. And if you find that your stuffing is showing through your stitches, then you may want to go down a hook size. And this might be something you'll have to do if you're using a different yarn. Like back when I first started, I used all kinds of yarns. I still do for the most part, but you know, for business purposes and promotional purposes, my kind of string yarn is the best because it's mine. But using other yarns and stuff, particularly any soft acrylics that I use, you know, you do want to make sure that whatever hook you're using, for doll making in particular, where you have to put polyester fiber fill into the material, you want to make sure that the hook you're using and the tension you have are done so that your stitches don't show through. And then as you get better and whatnot, you know how to do that even without having to make any major adjustments to the hook size, especially if you're following patterns. Let's see what's going on, because, like I said, we're going to get to the meat and then we're going to call it a productive Sunday, because I can see from the time frame we have now been live for 123 minutes. What's that? On the second part, that's longer than the first part. Let's see. 19, 19, 19, 19, 19. We're doing well. We're doing well. I always think it's funny when people are like, all right, I'm going to catch the replay. Like, yeah, time limit on how long you can sit. Like, you know, again, because this is what I do, I understand that, you know, people got to do other things. Can't spend a whole Sunday just chillaxing and crocheting, so but I'm gonna have all my pieces finished before part 3. As a matter of fact, you know what I was gonna say. I'm gonna save it, but it might not be true. I'm gonna start ahead of time, I'm going to be an overachiever. I am going to not only finish part 1 and part 2, but I'm going to start some of part 3 before part 3 even happens. I'm saying that with confidence because that would be ideal. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. That's the goal though. The other thing is with those made designs, I did tell you all that I wanted to add a component to it that's not included in the pattern that I think would be really good. And when I add that component, I'll share it because I think you'll want to add that too once you see it because it's really cool. But I have to finish putting on their buttons and tacking their flowers in place, and then doing that component. And then the one that doesn't have a face, probably need to put that on. And the one who's in pieces and the beads aren't on her hair, probably need to do that. That's another thing. I want to have them all finished because I want to photograph them all done completely and together because they look really great together before I make them available for purchase. Let's see. One more row and then we're going to get that meat done. Now I need to make sure that my count is right before I go into that because that's the other thing. You need to make sure that every row, when the pattern says 24 single crochets or 20 stitches, all that wonderful stuff, all of those numbers at the end, the reason why those numbers are there is because you need those numbers to be accurate in order to move on. If you get to the end of row 28 and you don't have 220 stitches, then you're going to have a problem because the next steps require you to have that number correct. And you can't add the numbers after the fact because there are some mistakes that you just can't work around. It has a domino effect. So that's why I say, you see me take something apart. It's because even if I wanted to just ignore it and just put the stitch there after the fact, that may not necessarily solve the problem that I've created by having a mistake there. There's an occasional time where you can, correct the mistake. But then there are times when it's like, nope, this mistake creates a domino effect, and then you think you got a leg and you don't got a leg. Or you think you got, you just need to make sure that the math is doing what the math is supposed to do. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So now we're on 29, the left leg, right? And you gotta make sure, if I'm working on the left, then that's what I'm working on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, row 29, left leg. It matters. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In the front loops only, have double crochet in the next 7 stitches in the front loops only. That's important, and y'all know why this is important. Same reason why it was important for the arm. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then single crochet and the remaining 2 stitches. Again, this is very specific because of the direction the foot is pointing and the location of the knee, right? This matters. So you really can't skate around it. And this is another reason again. And I'm not just saying this because it's my yarn, but this is also why it's important that if the pattern says use this yarn for this design, this matters. Using a different yarn might result in these things not aligning up, possibly, not necessarily, but you do run the risk of that. So now, the next row, again, left leg, we're on the left leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We go to, now we're finishing up this in the front loops only of those half double crochet stitches that you just made on the previous row, and into the back loops of the row before that. It's almost like it brings it down to create that little bump that ultimately becomes her knee. Right? Does everybody understand this component? Because I know I've done this a few times and I've explained it a few times, but I know that there were some people initially when I introduced this little thing, there were people that were like, I don't really understand it. Are y'all good with that? Does that explain it? Okay, good. Because it is a my kind of thing. I don't know how other people do knees, but I know how I do knees. And a lot of what I do is based on just what I think. I don't use other designs or designers' work as references, because I've kind of worked really, really hard to make sure that I am using my creativity fully. You know, I don't want nobody to be like, oh, she got that from me. No, she didn't. We're not doing that. So, and if there is something that I am inspired by or learned from somebody else, I have no problems mentioning that. There is something that, there's a few things that I learned from Yolanda that I'm like, oh, forever doing it that way. I'm not even doing it no other way. One of the things that I learned from Yolanda is the invisible decrease stitch. Now, she didn't invent it, of course, but I had never known about it or even learned about it or seen it until her taking one of her classes for her Afro Puff keychain. I was like, oh, I didn't even know what invisible crochet stitch was. So, but we got a knee. Do you see the knee? And we're going to do one more row, which after that knee is an increase row. Because now from the knee, right above the knee, is the thigh, right? And so we're going to do row 31, right? 31, and even on 31, it gives you the reference for if you're working on the left knee or the left leg, and it tells you for the right leg in parentheses. Right. So here's an increase, and that increase is on the first stitch, 1, 2, and then it's on the single crochet the next 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then the second increase comes, right? Yes. And then you should be able to have your stitches all in the remaining stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. And like I said before, you want to make sure that you um, stuff it after you create the knees, because it'll be a little bit hard to create the knees when the stuffing is like right there, because you might accidentally grab up the stuffing. But with that being said, I think we can end right here, and everything else can be done off camera. But do you see how we have the ankle that goes into the leg portion, the knee, and then we begin to create the thigh area? So again, thank you all so much for joining and for participating. If you are interested in participating and getting the instructions for this design, which is an amazing design, the link for the pattern is in the description. If you're interested in My Kind of String Yarn, the link to purchase My Kind of String Yarn is in the description of this video. Make sure you like and share and comment. And if you have any questions or anything pertaining to this or anything crochet related, you can definitely comment in the comment section, and I will see you all Friday at 7:30 for part 3. I don't remember what part 3 is, but if you have the pattern and all of that, it'll be there. You two have a great evening. I will see y'all Friday.